episode are we on?
22?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds right. Welcome to the Horror Corner. This is the show where we talk about horrible things that happen in the world that are horrifying to us. I'm Cody.
I'm Elle.
And we're here today to tell you some stories.
Yeah.
I don't know why that was
that is exactly what we do, Cody. We are here sitting in our little virtual corner.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're here to talk
up.
about some murders, but you don't talk about murder, typically.
I mean, no. I was like, does my story include murder? Maybe it does.
Exactly, yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, anyways, this is episode... Yeah.
22.
This is episode 22. And still don't know what we're doing. Although it has been a while. It's been a break. We had a break there. So I will cut myself some slack on that.
Mm-hmm.
Today... Do we have any...
Cody is very tired.
I'm having a
that they're going to admit that themselves, but I will just say, looking at them over Zoom, I don't know if that's nice to say. Like, I can see the exhaustion.
You can see just
face.
everything unraveling in my brain. It's like visibly, like my head is cut open, and you can see the inner workings of my mind just unraveling.
Yeah, well, it's kind of hard to see all that past the gushing blood, but
True.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. Well, actually, I'm okay, but my roommate picked up the keys to her new apartment today.
Ooh!
So, it's official. Put down the deposit, and they're sending me update texts like mad on my phone. And yeah, it's good. And it's the place, I will say it again, that is right across the street from a cemetery. Also, okay, quick thing. We were talking last time about the difference between a graveyard and a cemetery.
Okay, yeah.
And I had a friend who informed me that a graveyard is connected to a church, but a cemetery is a non-church related burial ground.
Oh, I guess that would make sense.
Yeah.
The one down the street from my house was also down the street from a church. And the two weren't related. And the cemetery was called a cemetery. So I guess that makes sense. It was a mortuary and a cemetery. But it had no relation to the church.
So then, did the church have a graveyard that was not that graveyard, but that was further away from the church?
No.
Because that would be inconvenient, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work, but no, it did not. No. It had a school instead, which they could very well turn into a graveyard because the church is still up. The school got shut down due to lack of students.
So now they can turn that school into a graveyard. Or, wait, cemetery. Wait.
Graveyard.
Graveyard, yes, because it would be connected to the church. Got it. Okay. I was
going to say, I think it used to be the convent, but that's a lie because the convent is the house next to the church. It's a very small church, so they don't need like a large convent.
Is a convent, is that where the nuns live?
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
They had like 4 or 5 Irish nuns that lived there at once. It was great.
4 or 5 Irish nuns? Yeah. I love it.
And it was fun because
that would be a good band title. 4 or 5 Irish nuns.
Yeah, it was fun because like some of them would come in and like, you know, they'd be visiting from Ireland or have nun friends visiting from Ireland.
Colleagues.
And they would like give sermons and stuff. And like, can nuns give sermons? Lectures?
I don't know.
Sometimes they would
a recently converted Jew. So.
Yeah, so like sometimes they'd come in and talk about like their mission or like I'm trying to think, like I was pretty young when most of them like moved back to Ireland and passed away in Ireland. But there was one, Sister Christine, she was really nice, she was really cool. She got kind of grumpy once in a while, but like when you're in 2nd grade and like you got a bunch of 8-9-year-olds just fucking around, like I would be grumpy too.
Yeah, no.
So like
in fact, I can say that I have experienced grumpiness because that's the age group I work with.
Exactly, like she's an 80-year-old woman like trying to get us to learn about the Bible.
Yeah.
What is there not to be grumpy about?
That's too much. Yeah.
But yeah, no, she was in charge of like my first communion and stuff, and she ended up going back to Ireland to pass away as well. Well, okay, she
Wait,
didn't
she went back to Ireland to die.
expressly to die. No, she retired, moved back to Ireland to be with the rest of her like nun friends, and ended up passing away while she was in Ireland.
Got it. The rest of her nun friends.
I'm sorry. This is
this is great. Cody uncut.
What did you want me to say? Fellow nuns? I don't.
Colleagues. I already said colleagues.
Did you?
Although I don't.
That strand of thought, just like you saw it wave out of my brain already.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, should we jump in that time machine? I'm very
also
excited
want
to click some buttons.
Oh,
okay, well.
I was gonna say, I want to do away with the time machine. I'm not really a big fan of it.
What? Okay. Yeah, what are we gonna do instead? We gotta do something.
I haven't thought that far. We'll think of something for next episode. Or I will think of something, since I said I wanted to do away with it. I don't know. I'm really putting off my story. I'm not excited about this at all.
Okay, well, I'm kind of excited and about to be very unexcited.
Cool, so I'll tell you about this other podcast.
Yeah.
I found this podcast called True Crime Couple. And in it, they talked about the story that I might not be talking about today, which is the Mornington Monster, aka the Speargun Killer.
The Speargun Killer.
Yes.
Can I guess, does he use a spear gun?
You know, you are actually exactly right.
I don't even know what a spear gun is. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking like a bayonet, like a combination between a gun and a spear, kind of. But that can't be right. Is it a gun that shoots spears?
Yes, actually, and this is very important for you to know.
Okay.
To the story. Okay. Yeah. I don't know how generally the spear guns work, but I assume it's like a gun that shoots, or like a gun crossbow kind of thing that like shoots spears. But I guess they come with like
take a minute to Google image it.
Okay, yeah. While I describe this to you, I guess they can like you can use spears that are like they're probably about like a foot-ish to like a foot and a half in length, and they come with like you get like the shaft part of the spear and then the like spear head, the spear tip that you can like detach and switch out, I guess, for like whatever use or like whatever material you want.
Yep, I'm looking at it.
And so like that's important for you to know, that they can detach and you can like, mix and match and stuff. So that's kind of like the background.
What the hell? This looks like something that should be not used by civilians in the U.S., but that is absolutely illegal to civilians in the U.S.
Generally, they're used for fishing.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yes, less ominous than
less for killing people. Okay.
Yes.
I'm like, this just looks like a torture device. Also, yeah, this would not be efficient at killing someone. Well,
no. Well, we'll
I guess
it
is efficient because it's the name of the killer. So
we'll get to it.
Okay.
So on this True Crime Couple podcast, they talked about the Mornington Monster / the Speargun Killer, and the person reading it, like, I got through like the first 30 minutes of this podcast episode before I finally started actually listening to the story, because the person reading it had like a half like, thick New Jersey accent, half like deep Valley Girl accent. It was kind of weird and like hard to focus on the case until I got used to it. It was just like, no offense to the show, obviously, but like it was like going to like a family reunion in the Northeast and then hanging out with a cousin who had moved to LA a couple years prior or something, and it's just like the person reading was like, oh yeah, Anna, let's see if I can do the accent. Anna and her daughter, you know, we're just ordinary people trying to, you know, John and Anna didn't want to get a divorce. No, I can't do it. Divorce.
It kind of sounds like
divorce. Yeah.
Divorce. It kind of sounds like the Long Island Medium.
Yes. Not New Jersey. Yeah, no, you're right. Long Island. I can't do it.
Long Island Medium. Did you ever watch that show?
I did not. Okay. I didn't watch a lot of TV growing up. But like a lot of the stuff I was like, all right, let's see how she says horror. Can you imagine? Welcome to the Horror Corner podcast. Like
a horror corner.
Oh my god. Sorry. Okay, I'm totally like
know.
I'm really putting this
Already
off.
off topic.
Yeah. So that was the source that I used, and then also The Age, which is like an online newspaper slash news outlet thing. Real True Crime is like a YouTube channel that has an episode of Crime Investigation Australia,
Oh.
where they covered this. And then also I got some information from the Supreme Court of Victoria's website.
Okay.
So, here's the meat of the story.
What you really don't want to talk about.
You really don't. I really don't. Anna Marie Kemp and John Miles Sharp got married in October of 1994 and lived in the Mornington Peninsula area of Victoria, Australia. Mornington is just south of Melbourne, which I'm not going to even try to do Australian accents. I can do a Long Island accent, but definitely not an Australian sounding thing. I don't... Okay. People often take trips out to Mornington to, like, go to the beaches and wineries, which are what it's most known for, and, it's kind of like a village atmosphere, so they're probably, like, a tight, closer community, I would think. I don't know. There's, like, a lot of... I don't know. It's, like, suburban residential area.
Yeah, yeah.
The couple had their first child, which was a daughter, in 2002. They named her Gracie, and she was born with hip dysplasia. So if you don't know what that is, to whoever's listening, it is a congenital abnormality that can result in lower back pain, arthritis, and a whole host of other symptoms, including having one leg being shorter than the other if it's not treated early on. Anna and John made sure that Gracie was in therapy and wore a corrective brace / like harness thing once they found out, like, once she was diagnosed, and she wore that until she was about 3 months old. Throughout this time, she had trouble sleeping and cried a lot, even though, like, once they removed the harness and it wasn't necessary anymore, she also, she still had a lot of trouble, sleeping and eating. So, what does this say? I can read my own sentence that I wrote 3 hours ago. Oh my god. I'm just gonna read you this. I'm not gonna try to ad-lib. Throughout this time, she had trouble sleeping and cried a lot, even once the harness wasn't necessary anymore, and apparently had so much trouble feeding that Anna had to get professional help to get Gracie to eat as a baby. There we go.
Okay, cool. Sounds familiar as a former disabled child.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. I mean, leg braces like that, I've had to wear some braces throughout my life, and they fucking suck and definitely, like, mess up your sleep.
Good old John began to express his unhappiness about their marriage. They got married when Anna was 31, and I think he was 28 at the time. And when they got married, Anna was kind of unsure about the marriage, but she went through with it nonetheless because she felt that, like, you know, she's 31, she's getting kind of old. I don't know, 31 is pretty old to get married in, like, the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
I guess. Especially, like, if you don't have kids. That's just kind of...
Yeah.
Old maid.
A lot of pressure back then to do it younger.
Right. So, they seemed pretty happy. They both worked at the Commonwealth Bank of Australia, where they met, and they lived in a couple different houses around Mornington before they had Gracie. According to friends and family, Anna always said that she wanted 2 children. That if anything ever happened to her, or whoever her husband was, if they just moved on, or, like... If the kids moved on to a point in their life where they don't really, like, need their parents anymore, or if their parents died, neither of the kids would be alone. They would always have each other. So that was kind of her, like, mindset, her thinking behind, like, I want 2 kids for sure.
Yeah.
John, on the other hand, he wasn't really a fan of kids, which is highly relatable, honestly, but I don't think I would go and...
Have a kid.
Have a kid. I don't... So I don't want to spoil anything, but
okay.
Spoiler: he does kill his kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So
no, not good.
John didn't really want a kid to begin with, and let me figure out where I am in my notes. Here I am. John Shaw, one of Anna's friends, notes in an episode of Crime Investigation Australia how when the couple moved to their new house at 116 Prince Street in September of 2003, John was becoming increasingly hostile with Anna. So, like I said, he didn't want kids, and he definitely didn't want 2 kids.
Hmm. And probably also not a disabled kid, I'm guessing.
Right, so she did
Hmm.
go to therapy. She did wear the brace for about 3 months, but then she no longer needed the brace. I don't know if she's still going to therapy.
Hmm. Okay.
Shortly after moving into the house, Anna announced that she was pregnant again. And John was not amused, as you can imagine.
Hmm.
Sometime in February of 2004, John went to a marine sports shop called Sport Phillip Marine and purchased a high-power spear gun. The spear
All
came
right.
The spear gun came with one spear already, and John purchased a second one to go with it, and he paid in cash.
Okay.
He was seen practicing with it in their backyard, yet he never seemed to actually go spearfishing, which people thought was a bit strange.
Interesting.
About a month later, Anna went
You might
missing.
say fishy.
Indeed. About a month later, Anna went missing. Here's a rough timeline of events that took place about a month later in March of 2004. Monday,
Okay.
March 22nd, Anna dropped Gracie off at her daycare center in the morning and called her mom in New Zealand, where she was originally from, then picked up Gracie from daycare at around noon. She made plans to meet up with a friend later that week and talked with another friend for a while on the phone, and she didn't say anything or like do anything to indicate that something was going on with between her and John. Like nothing that would make her friend suspect anything was wrong.
Hmm. Yeah.
On Tuesday of that week, Anna called her health insurance provider and asked about adding her unborn baby to their plan. And after that, she was never heard from again.
Hmm. Okay.
On Wednesday, March 24th, John took Gracie to and from daycare as usual. On Thursday, John did not take Gracie to daycare, and he told two of Anna's friends that she had left him, but they could contact her on her cell phone. He mentioned to Anna's friend, Dawn, who I mentioned before, that Anna had left Gracie behind, which greatly alarmed her because Anna would never leave Gracie behind.
Yeah.
Anna was totally devoted to Gracie. Like, obviously, she's the one who wanted kids. She would
Yeah.
never leave her
And
kid
she's
behind.
like having another child specifically for her other
Exactly.
kid. Yeah.
It just seemed really out of character. So on March 26th, which is a Friday, the Friday of that week, John informed the daycare center that Gracie would no longer be attending because he and Anna had separated. He also called Anna's mother back after she left a few messages on the machine to let her know that Anna had left him on Tuesday. He told her that he didn't know where Anna was, but he expected her to come back for Gracie on the upcoming Monday. Allegedly, on Sunday, March 27th, Anna came to pick up Gracie and they left in a taxi.
Hmm.
John was not with them.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was clear. Okay.
Yeah. So now both mother and child are out of the house,
Yes.
supposedly.
Yes.
Okay.
Anna's mother, Lily, happened to be speaking with her priest, when John called. And they both thought it was kind of suspicious. The story was kind of suspicious, and Lily agreed to
Hmm.
have the priest call the police on her behalf.
Okay.
The police. So he called the New Zealand police, because they're in New Zealand. Was that clear?
Hmm.
I don't know.
It wasn't clear,
Okay.
but it is now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anna's mother Lily still lives in New Zealand, so the
Hmm.
priest called the New Zealand police. And the New Zealand police found it suspicious enough to call the police in Victoria, who then found it
Hmm.
suspicious enough to open a local case into Anna's disappearance.
Got it.
Okay, we got that cleared
Yeah.
up. That makes sense now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. I rewrote the sentence in the shower because I was in the shower and I was like, I gotta fix this. So that's yes. Okay.
How did you rewrite it in the shower? Is your equipment waterproof?
No, I reached out of the shower.
Oh, okay.
It's fine. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
That's the most important logistics of this entire story. For 3 months following her disappearance, John kept up a facade that he didn't know where Anna was, and the child she was carrying was actually not his own, but the child of the man that she was having an affair with. So, this is... For 3 months, he's getting increasingly more and more, insistent that the baby's not his, and that Anna's cheating on him. And
Okay. And this was 3 months after she left?
yes.
Or, quote,
Yes.
left? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But he's under a tremendous amount of pressure at this point because the police interview him once the New Zealand police call them. they start interviewing him and like following him because they're like, 9 times out of 10 it's usually the husband, So
Yeah.
they start following him, and one day they follow him to a public toilet building thing. We don't have those in the United States really, but in other places I guess they just have public toilets.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Toilets for anyone.
That you don't have to pay for? Question
Yeah.
mark? I don't know.
No. Ridiculous. Wild. Who would let people go to the bathroom for free?
Oh, man. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, one day he went to a public toilet and walked into some bushes next to the building. They saw him pick up a blue plastic bag and check something, and then return the bag to its hiding place. Once he left, the police went over and checked it out themselves and discovered Anna's credit card, her cell phone, and later on her driver's license. So I guess he kept coming back to this spot to, like, hide things.
I mean, at least that makes it easy for the investigators.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah, not a very intelligent move.
No, yeah.
What was kind of smart, though, was that John wrote letters and messages to Anna's family and friends pretending to be Anna, so that they wouldn't suspect anything, and even went so far as to go on live television and make a public statement about his wife's disappearance. A sergeant in the local police believed that John was faking his emotions and concern in the TV interview, he was acting, like, really emotional and, like, concerned in the interview, compared to when they initially interviewed him at the police station, in which he was, like, quote, matter-of-factly and less emotional.
Yeah, like, he could put on the grieving face for
exactly, and he's mostly concerned about finding Gracie at the police station. But when he went on TV, he was visibly concerned about both Gracie and Anna.
Okay.
So the police officer was like, something's fishy here.
Yeah.
Something doesn't quite add up. He was interviewed twice. In the first interview, he maintained his story, but during the second interview, he confessed to killing both his wife and his daughter. The police...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yep.
All right.
This is 3 months of questioning, though, so...
Oh, yep. Yeah. So after 3 months, that would be... And, like, being followed.
This really takes me back to when we read Crime and Punishment in college. When I read Crime and Punishment. I don't know if you ever did.
Oh, no. Thank God, no.
It was a punishment in itself. The police launched an extensive search of the Mornington Peninsula landfill, where Anna and Gracie's bodies would have ended up. One of the few landfills in the area that accepted asbestos disposal. Great. Love that. After nearly 3 weeks of searching in the highly toxic landfill, they found Anna's body, then Gracie's, and examined them to see if their wounds corroborated John's confession to the police of how they died and how he disposed of the bodies.
God.
And this is where we get a story, where we finally get his version of what actually happened that last week of March. So on Monday, March 22nd, Anna brought Gracie to and from daycare and called her mom. She talked with a few friends on the phone. On Tuesday, March 23rd, Anna called her health insurance provider, and later that night, she and John had gone to bed around 9 or 10 p.m. But John wasn't able to go to sleep. So while Anna slept soundly beside him, he thought about how unhappy he was in their marriage, and kind of, like, mulled over everything that was going on. He's like, well, maybe I should just kill my wife. And, he didn't, obviously,
Jesus.
he didn't say this. There's no official quote, but...
Yeah, but, like, basically.
Basically.
Like, oh, I was so sad, so I killed my wife. It's like, it feels like that's men's reasons for murdering their wife all the time.
Sure.
I just thought about how unhappy I was. Anyways, I was watching an episode of Forensic Files last night that, like, went exactly that route. I forget what it was, but it was like, oh, the husband was so depressed in his marriage, so that's why he killed his wife. And I'm like, a lot of us have depression, and we don't murder people.
Yeah, like there's not a lot of psychological information that I could find on the internet in, like, the last 12 hours. Because I could have spent more time in the story, and I didn't.
Oh.
Because I did another one of those things that was like, murder type in insert location searches, so I don't...
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
If
it's
anybody wants
funny.
to Google this, is like one of the first things that comes up when you search family annihilator in Australia.
Family and Night.
I think I specifically searched family annihilator in Melbourne, which
Oh,
is ultra specific, and I don't know where I got that.
is Family Annihilator, is that like um a police term or
Yeah, it's like a category of
okay, a
people
category?
who
That's what I was looking
essentially
for.
murder annihilate their entire family.
Got it.
Whether it's
Wow.
like their entire extended family or like their
Hmm.
household. But
Got it.
generally, yeah, it's like a man who annihilates his entire household. It's great.
Hey,
It's
that can be the
fine.
word of the day.
Annihilate? Oh.
Or Family Annihilator.
It's awful. It's terrible. It's so
Yeah.
disturbing.
I mean, yeah, I didn't know that there was like a term for that within
Unfortunately, we have to have a
discipline.
term for it.
Yeah, that sucks.
John got out of bed and retrieved his spear gun from the garage. He loaded it, then went into the bedroom and shot Anna with it point blank in the left temple, mere centimeters from her head. She was still alive, so he reloaded and shot her again. This time, she was no longer
Wow.
breathing.
Yikes. I don't know why I want to psychoanalyze him so much, like this particular man, but it just seems like that's an awful lot of intent
Mm-hmm.
to shoot someone twice like that and so violently. I'm like, I don't think this is about psychological issues. Anyways, that's just me.
I did find some information. I didn't find a lot, but I did find some. So we will get
Okay.
into it at the end.
Okay.
But you're right. Yeah, like I would definitely love to psychoanalyze this guy because, oh
Mhm.
boy, this
Yeah.
is incredibly violent.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
lot easier to psychoanalyze than to just be like, oh, this man is evil, you know?
exactly. Yeah, so he covered her with a sheet and closed their bedroom door, and then went downstairs to sleep on the couch.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
just
Maybe.
casually
Yeah.
went to sleep. All
How
this,
can he just sleep after that?
exactly. Especially when your daughter is sleeping literally next door. Like,
And he just killed her mom, and you're
ugh,
gonna kill her too.
I can't even imagine. So on Wednesday, March 24th, which is the next morning, John took Gracie to and from daycare as usual. But he did have some work to do when he got home, while Gracie
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
home. And apparently he had quit his job at the bank at some point. This wasn't clear on the timeline, but he
Mm-hmm.
quit his job at the bank and started working on like a personal business venture at home.
Mm.
I don't know.
Okay.
So he didn't have to go to work, which I thought was very like important. I was like kind of wondering, I was like, why didn't he have to go to work? Like one of
Yeah.
the neighbors be like, why is he home? But no, it's because he worked
Mm.
from home at this point.
Got it.
He did also turn away a TV serviceman who came to the house at an appointed time that Anna had set up before.
Oh.
And the TV serviceman thought that he saw someone else, like an older kind of man, lurking in the back of the house behind John when he opened the door.
Hmm.
But whether or not there was another man in the house at the time, John definitely turned the repairman away because he didn't want anyone to find out about Anna.
The fact that he spear gunned his wife.
Yeah.
Imagine being that TV guy, like going to the
Right.
house, getting turned away, and then later hearing about this.
Yeah, they
Oh my
interviewed him
god.
on the Crime Investigation Australia
Oh
episode,
yeah.
so you can go see that. I don't
Is
remember his
that a
name.
podcast? I'm sorry. I think you said
Oh no,
that.
it's a TV show.
Text me the link
I will.
after yeah.
So once he avoided the TV man,
Mhm.
um, John went upstairs to try to remove the spears from Anna's head, but the spearheads were too deeply embedded. So he just unscrewed the shafts, which is why I wanted to bring up how spear guns worked before, from the spearheads, and then left the spearheads in her skull.
I did not realize that he just left them
Yep.
there. Like, what if his daughter had walked into their bedroom
Yep.
and seen mom with spears sticking out of her head? Like,
I Yeah,
Jesus.
so at this time, I believe Gracie's like. I read somewhere that she was 5 months old, and I don't think that's right.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Is she super young? I keep
Um,
thinking that she's like older for some reason.
right. So, like, she was born in 2002,
And two, you said.
so she'd be at least 2 years old at this point, or at least one. So I don't know where they got
Yeah.
5 months old, because that's definitely correct. But you're right, like, she's definitely walking at this point. She's like in her most curious stage of her life.
Yeah.
I don't know how many, like, what sort of, was she the kind of kid who like runs into her parents' bedroom every morning and be like, "Hello, time to get up," as most
Yeah.
children do, unfortunately. My sister did it
And
to me,
also,
which I'm not her parent. I
oh,
don't know why. It's a whole thing. She also slept walk, and it's very
yeah.
creepy, because like she'd just come
Oh,
upstairs.
yeah, you've told me about this.
Yeah, she would just like come upstairs, and like it'd be like this dark hallway down the stairs, and just be like,
Uh-huh.
"Cody," and I'd be like, "What?" Because I'm still awake, because I
Yeah.
usually went to sleep like a lot later than she did, and so she'd just
Mhm.
come up the stairs and like whisper, yell. I don't know how to say it.
Oh, God.
And I'd just be like, "Cody," and I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Can you read me a story?" And I'd be like, "No," because I'm a horrible older sibling, and and she'd just be like, "Please," and I'd be like, "No," and she'd just go back down the stairs, and I'd be like, "God, you were so annoying last night." She'd be like, "I don't even remember," and I'd be like, "What the
Oh,
fuck?"
my God.
Luckily, she grew out of that, because if she did that now, she's now about like 2 feet taller than she was at the time. And I
Oh, my
just, how tall is
God.
she? She's like 5'6", almost 5'7" now. Like at the time, she's probably like 4'8". I can't even
Hmm.
imagine like, whew, nothing.
Ooh.
Anyways, what are we talking about? We're talking about John and his spear gun. Yeah. So he removed the shafts from the spearheads and then left them in her skull. Left the spearheads in the skull, and then he
No,
buried
I hate
Anna's
that.
body in a shallow grave that he dug the night before. You're
Wow.
welcome.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out his plan, and it's just feels very cold
Right.
and
Like it
not
seems
at all like
half.
heat of the moment. It feels very deliberately.
Yes. Uh, yeah, it's something they definitely talked about in the episode. Like the police officers at the interview is like, it seems like half premeditated, half like he's trying to come off as like it was a spur of the moment thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like he bought the spear gun sometime in February. They think possibly he bought it earlier. They're not really sure about the timeline because he did buy it with cash, so there's no way to trace
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
So it's like a, he bought the spear gun, practiced with it, never went spear fishing, and then all of a sudden just kills his wife with it.
Yeah.
If it's not
It seems
premeditated,
like
I don't know what is at this point.
yeah.
Um, okay,
Okay.
so further in the week, let's see here. We're on Thursday of the week, which was the day that he didn't take Gracie to daycare. He told daycare that Gracie was no longer coming to daycare.
Mm.
And sometime between this day and Sunday, Gracie took John took Gracie with him back to the sports store where he purchased another spear for his spear gun.
Oh no.
On Sunday, March 27th, John put Gracie to bed and then went downstairs for a drink. He drank a number of glasses of whiskey and coke to numb himself, and then around 9 or 10 p.m., he went out to the garage to get the spear gun. John held the spear gun to the left side of his daughter's head and shot her point blank. But like Anna, the first shot did not kill her,
Oh
and
my
so while she was
god.
screaming in pain, he went downstairs and got the two
Oh
other
my
spear shafts that he had taken from
god.
Anna's head and shot Gracie with them.
Holy shit.
And still, Gracie wouldn't give up, so she was still very much alive at this time. He
After
pulled
two shots.
after 3 shots.
Oh my
Because
god.
remember, he has the two that he got from Anna's head, that he originally used with Anna, and then he has the one that he went out and got
But
this
with
week
his daughter
with
at
his
his
daughter
side.
while she, God, while she was there. So that's 3. And then, since she still was alive, he pulled the first one that he shot out of her head and shot that one again. So that's 4 spears in her brain. And this time, Gracie did not make it.
Wow. Okay, now I know what you mean by extra fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, abuse of a child in general. Fucked up.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to
This
text
is
you. So I
just
was like, if this was like not as
sadistic.
detailed and not as like
Yeah.
specific of an act, I would gloss over it. But it's like, it's
It's,
too specific of a thing that like
yeah.
very intentional, very much. I can't believe people thought this wasn't premeditated.
Wait, so people thought that this wasn't premeditated?
There are people who think he didn't even do it.
What?
I,
Oh my god. That's extremely upsetting.
that's the thing. Like he was super specific about the details. The wounds corroborated his story. I don't know how you can believe that he didn't do it. I believe it's a
Yeah,
small
he
population of people who
confessed.
believe he didn't do it, but just to even
Hmm.
like have the thought cross your mind,
That,
he definitely did it. I'm just gonna put that out there right now. I believe he did it.
yeah.
200%.
Oh my god.
So the next day on Monday, which is originally supposed to be the day that Anna was supposed to pick Gracie up and leave.
Hmm.
So this is like within the span of 1 week.
Okay. I have a clarifying question.
Yes.
Okay, so Anna left
Hmm.
a week ago, right?
Allegedly.
Allegedly left. Yeah, like according to his story. And
His
then
original story, yes.
okay, his OG story. And then on Friday is when he killed his daughter.
Oh, this was Sunday. This was Sunday.
Okay. Oh, okay, Sunday.
Of
And
that
and
same
then
week that
got it. Of
Anna.
that same week.
Yeah, so the timeline is that, or his initial timeline was that Anna left on Tuesday with the man
Okay.
she was supposedly having an affair with. And then he said that she had told him that she was going to be back on Monday of the next week to pick up Gracie to
Okay.
take with her
And then he killed Gracie on Sunday night.
on Sunday night.
Okay.
So, but in reality, Anna was actually dead Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's why
Yep.
nobody heard
Makes
from her for the
sense.
rest of the week. And then the day uh, that Anna was supposed to pick her up was on Monday. But John had to change his story and say that, oh, she actually came back and picked up Gracie a day early on Sunday because he had already killed Gracie on Sunday night. So it would be
Yeah.
kind of whatever in his story that, like, or it wouldn't line up in a story that Anna had actually come Monday to pick up Gracie when nobody saw Gracie on Monday.
Yeah. 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 And also, no one would see Anna on Monday either.
Right, so it's just overall, like, kind of has some holes in the
Yeah.
story, but
Mm-hmm.
like some things don't align. But also, who just sits and watches someone's house if you aren't like specifically waiting for something like this to happen? So like it's
Yeah.
very feasible that Anna could have come by a day early, but part of why the New Zealand police thought it was suspicious enough to call the Victoria police was because they called all the taxi companies in the area
Mm-hmm.
and found out that none of the taxi companies has sent a cab or like had records of a cab going to their house
Mm-hmm.
on those specific days. So like there's no evidence that Anna allegedly came by and then left in a
Mm-hmm.
taxi like John had said.
Yeah. And
So,
like, you
yeah,
think that there would be evidence if she did come by? Like, the lack of evidence itself is kind of
exactly.
what is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so on Monday morning, which was originally the day that John said that Anna would come by to pick her up,
Mm-hmm.
but she had actually come by the day before, allegedly,
Mm-hmm.
according to his story. Sorry, I think that made it a little bit more complicated that I tried to explain what day it was supposed to be in the timeline,
Oh,
but I don't know.
it's
I'm
okay.
just trying to like do like kind of a let's rewind and see what actually happened.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
I
no.
think that made it a little
It's
more
working for
complicated.
me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
So, Monday morning, John pulled out the spears and held a towel in front of his face because he couldn't look at her, at Gracie,
Oh,
because he didn't want to see what he had done. And so
yeah.
he wrapped her body in garbage bags and a tarp and then bound her with duct tape. He brought her body to the Mornington Refuse Center transfer station, sorry, and discarded
Mm-hmm.
them, along with the spears, spear gun, and some of her clothes and toys, which he continued to do, brings more and more clothes and toys to the transfer station to make it more convincing that Anna had actually taken Gracie with her.
Okay. And then, what's the transfer station? Is that.
It's like a trash
Oh, okay, okay.
place.
I assume so, but then as like transfers at like buses or what? Okay.
Yeah, so my understanding of it is like you drop your stuff off there and then they take it to the landfill for you.
Okay.
So it's kind of
Got
like a
it.
mini landfill that they collect all your stuff.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So the same morning that he brought Gracie's body to the station, John also visited a hardware store in Frankston, I don't know where that is, didn't bother looking it up, and purchased a
Hmm.
roll of duct tape, 2 tarps, and an electric chainsaw. He exhumed
Bad.
Anna's body and proceeded to cut the body into 3 pieces, then wrapped the pieces, the chainsaw, and other tools in the tarps and duct tape, and then dropped them all off at the same station, where they were all eventually taken off to the landfill site on the Mornington Peninsula, where all the
Oh
toxic shit
my
is.
god.
Yeah. So they spent, I think I mentioned this before, they spent like almost 3 weeks in this landfill just like sorting through, and like they had to pay
Hmm.
officers overtime, and then overtime ran out, but like all officers were like super dedicated, and they're like, we're just gonna volunteer.
Hmm.
So it just became like a whole crew of volunteers searching for Anna and Gracie in this giant pile of trash.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
yeah.
that's good though. That the police, at least over there, I don't know
They
what
were super
policing is like in
dedicated.
Australia, but those sound like oh, that seems like good policing. Although I don't know. But
Yeah, I have a couple of things about this part of the story because
hmm.
it has nothing to do with the police. I'm not
Okay.
like
Okay.
fuck the police there. No, that's not what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say. um, the True Crime Couples podcast. I don't know if they looked at the area or whatever on the Maps website, which is called Google Maps.
Hmm. On the Maps website, aka Google Maps.
I'm so sorry.
Hey, I don't mind. I'm just a witness to all.
But I looked it up on Google Maps, and the house is in a
Mhm.
pretty residential area. Like I mentioned before, like your neighbor's house isn't like butting up against yours. Like there's a small yard between yours and your neighbor that
Mhm.
basically goes all the way around on all sides. But
Yeah,
like they aren't so far away that they're like you wouldn't be able to hear a chainsaw or even yelling
exactly.
from an open window from inside the house. Like it's
Yeah.
in a general suburban area. I keep hitting my mic stand. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, like all of the neighbors would have to be out at work or something to not hear the chainsaw or look out their window and see John working with Anna's body in the yard. Like I don't know
Yeah.
how you could not see this.
Yeah. Also, like, I
This is
imagine
like the
that
fucking
someone.
whacker story all over again. Like how do the neighbors not see this?
Yeah.
Although I believe this a little bit more than the whacker story,
Oh,
honestly.
yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. Um. Yeah. I gonna say like if Anna had come by to pick up Gracie, someone would have probably seen
Right, like
her
taxi
do
or not,
it.
they would have seen her.
Yeah.
They would
Yeah.
have seen something.
Yeah. And like
Whether
that's
it's a
why.
taxi or her body being chopped up with a chainsaw. Like, one is
Yeah.
definitely more shocking than the other. You should have reported it if you did see it. Like, what kind of neighbors do you have if they don't? Probably fucking
Yeah.
bystander. No. So I'm not gonna blame the neighbors. That's.
Yeah.
I'm just
I
making a
mean,
joke, but like.
blaming bystanders is valid,
Yeah.
or like passive bystanders. But
Anyway,
yeah.
I don't want to get into
Anyway,
the neighbors. I just,
no.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the things that happened after. There was a memorial service for Anna, her unborn child, and Gracie in Mornington for their friends in Mornington, and then there was also one that they held in New Zealand for Anna's family.
Hmm.
John was declared sane?
Okay.
Question mark.
Sane? Yeah. I mean, I
That's
guess
me
if
adding the
they're,
question mark. They definitely
yeah,
declared him sane. Like that's the official statement.
yeah. It's like their definition of sane, like knew what he was doing, or
Knew what he
is it
was
like
doing.
mentally healthy?
It was a one-off thing. He didn't like. Here, I'll read you the quote.
Okay.
One doctor said that his behavior was irrational, quote, irrational, perhaps on
Uh-huh.
a scale of, quote, dissociation of personality. So,
Hmm.
like, maybe he had some sort of antisocial personality, but also, like, basically he did a horrible thing, but he wasn't, quote,
Hmm.
afflicted by a clinically significant depressive disorder prior to the killings, although seemingly not of very major proportions, end quote.
Okay.
So, like I said, like it was a once-off thing, but they don't think he would repeat it,
Mhm.
and therefore he's
Wait.
a little bit more mentally sane, mentally
Okay.
sound. Sorry.
Wait, so if they didn't think he would repeat it, then that means that he's mentally sound in their eyes, or
That's kind of the what I got from it.
hmm okay, got it.
Another doctor, so a different doctor from the one who said those things, whose name was Ian Joblin. Joblin. It probably sounds more legit with an Australian accent, which I can't do. But he said that based on John's reported history from himself and his family, he, the doctor, was of the opinion that leading up to the birth of Gracie, John was in a somewhat fragile psychological state.
Okay.
He said that John was an isolated and withdrawn kind of person who lacked the psychological resources to cope with the stress of his marriage and the birth of his first child, as well as the shift from being employed at the bank to being self-employed. It was because of these conclusions that the Dr. Joblin believed John had actually started to come up with a plan to kill his wife over a month prior to doing so, back before he even bought the spear gun in around January, February.
Okay.
Maybe I quoted that wrong, maybe that he did have a clinically significant depressive disorder, but like not major enough that it would lead him to do something like this. Maybe I
Yeah.
quoted that wrong. I could be quoting that wrong. I'm so sorry. I'll leave the source somewhere for people to correct me, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah, I wish we could take a peek inside this guy's brain, because I don't really know. Like, it was
Yeah.
a psychotic break? I don't know. He's like 30-something at this point, because I think Anna was 41 at the time. They got married in 1994. She was 31. 2004, she would have been 41. Yeah, that makes sense. And then John would have been 38. Seems kind of late for a mental break, but if it's going to happen, it's going to be after 25 for men.
Based off
Sorry, that's for
of
developing schizophrenia. That has nothing to do with mental breaks. You get a mental break at any age.
yeah, I'm gonna say like
Excuse me. Oh,
pretty sure
God.
every member of my
I learned
family
about that
has
in the Slenderman episode, so I feel like
Oh.
my brain just, I'm remembering things. I haven't had a mental
wow.
break quite yet, or if I have, I've recovered, I think.
Or you don't remember.
Exactly.
Oh shit, that's a
Haven't
mind
realized.
fuck. God,
Yeah.
I hate that.
You're welcome. Final bullet points. John Miles Sharp was therefore sentenced to prison for the remainder of his natural life by the Supreme Court of Victoria for the murder of his wife Anna, and sentenced to prison for the remainder of his natural life by the court for the murder of his daughter Gracie. So 2 life sentences in prison, and he has to serve a minimum of 33 years before he's eligible for parole.
Good. Okay.
Which means he's still in prison today, and shouldn't be up for parole for another 10 years. They were unable... Yeah?
Oh, I don't know if I should say it's good that he's in prison, because I would also like him to get mental health support if he needs it.
It definitely played into their decision. Part of their decision was, like I said, like, based on the fact that... Or based on the question, I guess, of would he do this again? Is he still a danger to society? Yeah, so... the next bullet point is definitely going to launch us into another discussion again, probably, because they were unable to try him for the death of Anna's unborn child. And here's the part where I get a little is because Australia's law states that you cannot be charged for the death of a baby that is unable to live independently from its mother. Or basically after it's born. They don't consider a baby able to live independently from its mother until after it's born. So, murdering the mother does not mean that the baby was also murdered, even though in this case Anna fully intended to carry out her term and the baby would have been born, which is exactly why John had murdered Anna in the first place. So this isn't a case of, like, for example, abortion cases, where like, oh no, you're killing a baby. Like, this is... She fully intended to carry out her term, and John had intentionally killed Anna, and I guess second-handedly intentionally killed the baby.
Yeah, like, he took away her autonomy to have her child.
Exactly. That's a really good way to put it, actually. Anyways, that story took a lot longer to tell than I originally anticipated, and a lot longer to research. But there was just, like, I originally had, like, over 5 notes of this, and I could not cut a lot of it out, because it was just, like, it's such a specific case.
Yeah, and like you want to do it justice and not just
Yes.
shorten it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I will probably be posting a picture of Anna, but not Gracie,
Okay. That makes
just
sense.
because I don't want to look at Gracie, which
Yeah,
sounds horrible,
also,
but it's too sad.
yeah, it's too sad. And also, she's a very young child, and her parents didn't give permission for her photo to
Yeah, I
be
mean, you
posted.
can
I feel
Google
like
it.
that's
You
valid.
can Google it. Her picture's everywhere, pretty much. So, if
Hmm.
you don't find it on our page, you can find it somewhere else pretty easily. All right.
Ugh,
Well,
yikes.
after all of that, are you ready to spook me, or do we need a second?
I need a second. All right, well, we're not gonna need accents where we're going, or I
Darn.
guess accents other than our own, or at least mine.
Oh my God.
I don't know
I can do like
what.
a Valley Girl accent.
A Valley
That's
girl.
over
Oh
immediately.
my god. Okay. Do you want to lead into my story?
Oh my God, spook me.
Since we're probably gonna cut that other part out, Cody was just demonstrating for me their Valley Girl accents.
I'm
Valley
not
Girls or Valley? Wait.
Valley Girl.
Okay.
Valley Girl is gender neutral. I'm
Is
declaring
it?
it right now.
Is it a TV show or is it? I've never heard of
It's like the
Valley Girl.
stereotypical like LA California girl accent.
Oh, that's what it means.
Yes. Like okay,
Yeah.
if you ever
And
seen
so just like
something
bitchy
like
white girl kind
yeah,
of.
bitchy white girl.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that.
Okay, good.
I know that. Yeah, it's like across all of America. Well, I'm just gonna jump in here.
Please.
I'm gonna spook you. Do you want to hear my very academic title for this story?
Yes, let's do it. I'm snapping away
Okay.
from the mic, and I don't know if that just sounds obnoxious or if it like sounds like a yeah, I'm trying to clap for you. Like,
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
clap in that way, but like I need to go to sleep. Please continue.
Okay. Well, so I titled this my story not academically, but with a
Oh.
quote, and I want to see if you can guess the story from this very famous
Okay,
quote.
I love games. I hate guessing
Okay.
games, but I love games. Let's
Okay.
do it.
Couples. Okay. Couples see a man-sized bird, creature, something. November 16th, 1966.
Is it the story of Superman?
No.
Mothman.
Mothman. Yep. You got it.
I'm sorry, I just had to do the Superman. Okay, moving on.
I like. I'm not really into like super characters, so super what is that genre called? Like, it's not comics because I like comic books, but like the anyways,
Superheroes, action comics,
action comics. Yeah, I
metahumans.
I know. I like never understand the references, even though they're very famous references.
Well,
Well,
the Superman one is. No, it's fine. I'll continue.
um,
Just
but yeah, so Mothman or Mothwoman or the plural Mothfolk. I don't know
I
if
love
that's
that.
also a gender neutral term. If it's like like was
If
plural but
Valley
now
Girl
can
can
be
be gender
used
neutral,
singular.
Mothman can be neutral.
I love it. I love it. Um, so first, I want to get into a brief history, but I'm kind of doing something different. I'm going to do a brief history. Well, it's not brief. It's like history's like a whole page, and
It's
then the
10
rest of
pages
it
long.
is another page. Okay, half history.
Okay,
I'm gonna tell you some stuff just about Mothman, and then we're gonna go into some stories
sounds
about
good.
Mothman accounts. Yeah. So, what is Mothman? Or is Mothman a cryptid, an extraterrestrial being, or a barn owl, or just your average West Virginian having a good time?
I have a question.
Yes.
Um, to qualify as a cryptid, does it have to be cited more than once?
I don't know. I
Because as
don't.
far as I know, Mothman's only been cited like once or twice. Is there a minimum sighting to qualify as a cryptid?
And Mothman has been cited a lot.
Are you what? Am I
Wait,
just
so Yeah, what do you mean by sighted?
Never mind. Never mind.
Okay.
Like Bigfoot, you like see him around, but you don't.
Oh, wait, but so by sighted, do you mean like someone's seeing it?
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, tons of people have seen Mothman.
No, you're right. What am I? I'm just making this episode longer. Okay.
Okay, I'm like, did I screw something up
No, I just have a
majorly in
horrible
this?
memory.
Okay. Um, Mothman can be a lot of things. Maybe a barn owl, maybe a West Virginian playing a hoax. But sorry, whatever the technicality is, though, Mothman is a feathery, leathery, huge winged creature first reported in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, on November of 1966. 1966. It was a good year. I was not alive, but
This year my dad was born.
oh, nice. My dad was born in 68 and then my mom was born in 69, which
Love
definitely suits her personality because she laughs at 1969 because 69.
She's at the pharmacy. Date of birth?
What?
When she's at the pharmacy, it's just like, oh, date of birth. Whatever date, 1969.
Basically. The first reports of a man-like, red-eyed flying creature in Point Pleasant came in over a few days. So, like, there were just a lot of reports in rapid succession starting in 1966. The first of the first was from 5 men who were digging a grave in, like, a graveyard, so they weren't just, like, digging a body. They were grave diggers, hired. So they were just digging a grave, and they saw a human. I can't talk.
You're telling me.
And they saw a humanoid figure fly low over the trees above their heads. That was on November 12th. And then on the 15th, 2 couples from Point Pleasant, named Roger and Linda Scarberry and Steve and Mary Mallet, I think? Mallet, saw a large gray creature whose eyes lit up red when their car headlights like hit the creature's eyes.
Oh, doesn't
So
that have
just like
something to do with like
laser red.
the amount of like chemical in the amount of chemical in your eye? There's like a specific chemical in your eye that like makes you do that, and humans don't have that chemical.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why
Dogs
like
have
some Oh yeah. Oh, that's why in some pictures like dogs just have like red beam eyes.
Right, like it's different from a red eye just in a photo.
Yeah.
Like a human
Yeah.
red eye.
I think Mothman has been reported to have both red eyes and then eyes that flash red.
That's great.
So, double whammy. And then, oh yeah, the Wikipedia quoted the couples as they described it as a large flying man with 10-foot wings. So, like, there's a man, terrifying already, but he's large and he's got 10-foot wings. So, I'm scared. I'm scared just thinking about that. And then, so, the reports kept coming in over the next few days back in the 60s. A large grayish humanoid bird thing with glowing red eyes.
That's a great description.
I know. There's just a lot of descriptions that are just, like, gold.
I mean, it's just one of those things, like, you don't know how to describe it. Like, you literally don't have a single word or, like, 2 words to describe it. So you, like, just throw a bunch of stuff together and just hope
even in
comes
the name,
across.
like, Mothman, like, it doesn't look like a moth. Like, where the fuck did Mothman come from? Except for, like, the wings, I guess, and maybe, like, the color. But they all, like, almost all the accounts are, like, he looked like a bird. So
Which
why
is
not
interesting,
Birdman?
because, like, my first thought would have been, like, a huge bat.
Yeah. People also have described Mothman as a bat, for sure. But, like, a surprising number just say, like, a bird.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which leads into the theory that Mothman is actually, like, just a huge owl. But also, I
Mm.
don't think most owls have 10-foot wingspans.
Not that I know of, no.
I don't know
Also,
from.
like the span of the wings, like are people trying to gauge it based on like in relation to its body? Because like sure, a bat might not have 10-foot wings, but in relation to his body, it could very well look like it does because bats' bodies are
Mhm.
so much more narrow than an owl's.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I don't know, man. Personally, I've never seen Mothman.
Right.
Um,
So,
but honestly, well, I say I wish I had, but then when it actually happens to me, I'm just gonna be fucking screaming my head off. So, also really sad that a guy named Noel Partridge said that. Okay, well, sad part's coming up. Said that it made his TV set buzz, and it blamed Mothman for the disappearance of his dog. So,
no, I thought you were gonna say the disappearance
yeah.
of his TV, which is like I don't want to say better, but like
But
better than the
I
dog.
mean, I would much rather lose my TV than I would lose my dog.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah. Just made the TV set buzz weird, but
Well, I don't know Mothman's priorities here. Taking the TV over,
yeah,
sorry, taking the dog over the TV. Like,
no.
fuck the TV.
Some more details on that actually is that the dog was a hunting dog, so the dog actually went after Mothman, and then
Ah,
that's what happened. Someone's dog getting eaten by Mothman, well, allegedly eaten, I should say, is bad enough. But then the Silver Bridge in Point Pleasant collapsed when it was like full of traffic on December 15th,
all right.
1967. So like right before Christmas, there were a lot of cars on that bridge. 46 people died.
Ooh,
Um, yeah, and so since Mothman was kind of first reported the year before that, and then this tragedy happens, now Mothman sightings are kind of connected to that incident, and now sightings are either viewed as like Mothman brings destruction in natural disasters, or Mothman like tries to warn people about it ahead of time. So kind of
okay.
like either
Mm-hmm.
either predicting disaster or being the actual cause of disaster. I want to say that
Got it.
Mothman is predicting uh, disaster instead of causing it because that's more comforting. Um,
Yeah.
like, yeah, he did steal that guy's dog, but you know, um,
Maybe he was protecting the dog from something worse.
yeah. Also, and Mothman's gotta eat, so it
Oh,
like sucks, but
okay. That's a stance for sure. Yeah.
I mean, if he's like a wild animal,
Mm-hmm.
then I mean,
I mean, it's like
someone's poor
coyotes. Like
puppy is kind of
they
fair
eat your stuff.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Take your
um,
cats, but I mean, it's a circle of
yeah.
life.
Circle of Life with Mothman.
New children's book
Um,
coming next week.
coming next week. Wow, we're gonna write, illustrate, and publish a children's book by next week. Cody said it, folks.
I'm ordering a drawing tablet like right now.
What?
I'm ordering a
I
drawing
mean,
tablet right now.
oh, that would be an Instagram post, dude. If you try to like draw something up and then I can post it on Instagram,
Here,
just
let
like
me.
stick
Yeah.
figures, do stick figures. Like that's gonna be
Mothman, Circle of Life.
Circle of Life featuring Mothman, featuring the hit single.
Alright,
Do you
I won't
think
even.
that?
I'm not gonna buy a drawing tablet. I'll just draw it with my mouse and we'll see ya. Or I'll just draw it by hand and upload it on a
Yeah,
piece of paper. I don't.
yeah, whatever. Just send it to me. Whatever you got. Um, whether or not Mothman is real, they have definitely found their way into our hearts and possibly into Chicago, which I'll get into
Chicago?
later. Chicago. This episode is just right for butchering accents, or I should say, for you butchering
Yeah,
accents.
it's just me.
I
It's
am
only me.
I'm not participating, except by my silence. The most obvious example of Mothman in pop culture now is The Mothman Prophecies by Gray Barker in 1970. Now a movie.
What are we doing then? There's already a children's book written on it.
I
We
mean,
don't gotta read our own.
I don't think it's a children's book, and I don't
Any
think
book
it
is for
says,
children if you try hard enough.
No, I don't think. A lot of UFOologists, you know, like people who study UFOs, they picked up Mothman in connection with UFO sightings and the Men in Black, because that's also a trend that after people see Mothman, Men in Black will come. And sometimes, well, okay, I was listening to the And That's Why We Drink episode on this, and M tells a story about how there was this very small, dark-skinned man in black that visits
So, Will Smith.
Will Smith. And I actually thought of last week's episode about ley lines, because I don't know, but some account of Mothman, some like cryptozoologist expert, was trying to connect ley lines with Mothman. And I was actually going to do Mothman last week, and then I'm like, what's this ley line thing? So I did that, and then I did Mothman this week. But yeah, so ley lines is also a part of Mothman. Seems like you can connect every supernatural thing with Mothman somehow. And now
Mothman's getting around.
Season. Yeah. Point Pleasant, which is the town where Mothman was originally reported, they have an annual Mothman festival. Isn't that so good and so wholesome? Yes. I love it. And there's also a statue of Mothman. I think it's in Point Pleasant. It would be in, but yeah, it's like very much woven into Point Pleasant culture now. From the sources that I've read, I'm not from there, but and also now Mothman is a part of popular culture in a lot of significant ways, even if a lot of the sightings can be debunked. But I'm not really feeling in the mood for debunking. Are you? Are you, Cody?
Not really. Yeah. I like to think of Mothman as an actual entity.
Yeah, as a thing.
I'd rather not have it ruined.
Cool.
Sorry, have them ruined.
Yeah. Okay, when I see Mothman, the first thing I'm gonna do is ask for their pronouns.
Yes.
Hey, Mothman.
What is your preferred name and pronouns?
Preferred name?
Oh, for Mothman.
Yeah. Okay, let's get bunked, because we're not debunking, so I'm like, let's get bunked.
Yeah, that's legit.
I wrote it in my notes and I was very excited about it.
Yes.
What does WBES mean? I'm trying to figure this out because it's a news source. Okay, well, it's also called Chicago's NPR news source.
Oh, okay.
So, WBEZ, WBEZ, also known as Chicago's NPR news source, has a page where they've consolidated common characteristics in Mothman sightings that I used very heavily for this section. It's very good. Full disclosure, the page is on the Chicago Mothman specifically, and like we don't really know if like there's multiple moth folk or if the one Mothman moved to Chicago. But either way, the author frequently speaks to the similarities and or sameness between Chicago and Point Pleasant Mothman. So we're just going to say that this applies to more than the Chicago sightings. But in general, the size and shape of Mothman, as reported, is between 6 and 10 feet, with a 10-foot wingspan on top of that. So I don't know if you can mistake a bird or an owl or bat for 6 to 10 feet, but humanoid plus 10-foot wingspan. You know?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Now I'm going into, like, I'm debunking in my brain now. Like, what could it
Yeah.
actually be?
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Like,
maintain the suspension of disbelief in a way, but I'm
yeah.
also, like,
Yeah, I mean, when I
really
say
into
let's get
science.
bunked, I
Yeah.
also am totally debunking stuff in my head too. So we can just say that maybe these stories aren't credible, but they're fun. Um, Mothman is often compared to a big owl, a platysaur, or a bat.
A,
Um,
a what? A plathosaur?
a platysaur? I,
What is that?
I don't. I didn't look it up.
It reminds me of, like,
I think it's like a dinosaur, like a flying dinosaur.
Right, okay. What it reminds me of is,
Uh-huh.
one of those swimming brontosauruses. That doesn't make sense either, but if you know what
Mm.
I'm thinking about, you know what I'm thinking about. And also, I'm probably flawed because, well, I am flawed. But the only flying dinosaur I know of is the pterodactyl,
Uh-huh.
and there are definitely more than just pterodactyls
Yeah. Yeah.
that can fly, so I'll have to Google it
Yeah.
later.
I don't know.
It's definitely neither of the things that I'm thinking about.
Yeah. And we can say that it's some type of flying dinosaur,
I
I
love
think.
dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs are great. And even though most sightings that I've read said that Mothman has red eyes, green, yellow, and orange eyes have also been reported.
Okay, so it's
I
definitely
don't
like
know.
depending on how the light is reflecting.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good explanation for it. Um, Other features of Mothman include fur, leathery skin, bat wings, and no neck.
No
And
neck.
no neck, and sometimes Mothman has been seen without a head with eyes and a chest instead of.
Ugh.
Which I guess looks more like a
No.
moth then,
Yuck.
right?
I don't know what moths look like.
Have you ever seen a moth?
Yes, I have, but their eyes are like on their wings. They look like they're on their wings. I don't know where their eyes actually are.
Yeah,
Do moths actually have eyes? Or are they just antennas?
they have eyes.
Are their eyes on their antennas?
Um, no.
I don't know. Point
I
is, they
don't think
have
so.
eye-looking things on their wings, but like,
I
yuck.
think I think the
Eyes on their
antennas is for smell,
body
right?
with no neck.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I need to see if this is real, but there was a children's book that I read about I forget what the name is. It was a very complicated scientific Victorian name, but it was like this all white monster that didn't have a head and that had its eyes in its chest. Like completely albino, just stark white.
I'm
It
making a
was
horrendous noise right now. I'm so
I
sorry.
know. The book was called The Monstrumologist. It was a really good series, actually.
Rick Yancey.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
It
a
was,
children's book.
yeah, it
Oh,
is a children's
also,
book. Also terrifying, though.
The Monstrumologist is a young adult horror novel written by American author Rick Yancey. It's the first book in the Monstrumologist series, followed by The Curse of the Wendigo.
Yeah. Um, it is, it was kind of hard to read. Well, also, I was just having a hard time reading because anxiety, anyways. But
No, I mean,
it was really good, though,
okay, so there's only 3.
as a kid's book.
No, sorry, 4. The Monstrumologist, The Curse of the Wendigo, The Isle of Blood, and The Final Descent.
Yeah. I had the whole series at one point, and
I
I
want to
think
read this. I don't know if I can read anymore, but I'll try to find the audiobook.
yeah, it's kind of like Victorian crazed scientist has an apprentice that he abuses. I mean, like verbally abuses, like not any like physical violence, even though verbal abuse is bad. But like, and he has bipolar, at least like by today's standards, and just interesting characters for sure. Um, Mothman is also associated with an instilled sense of dread for witnesses. So when witnesses see it, usually it's just like this deep feeling of like, ugh, this is terrible. I don't know if that's just because they're looking at something terrifying or if it's like more
It's
of like a
pheromones.
sinking. Yeah. I don't know if it's like terror or if it's more like a deep seated, like sinking dread kind of. But scary either way. My favorite part of the source was how they described Mothman behavior. They said screaming, flying towards the lake, disappearing, going real fast, portending, and looking at people with eyeballs. I don't know what that means. Like just like normal eyeballs in the body. It makes me think of like autonomously
Just eyes that are not
disembodied
in
eyes.
specific, like, I don't know how to describe it.
Eyes that aren't where they're supposed to be. Yeah. I feel like a third nipple is not the same as eyes where they're not supposed
But
to
imagine
be.
the nipples as eyes. See?
What about instead of nipples, like eyes on the boobs?
Well, that's what I mean. Yes.
Oh my god. I'm just like clutching my breasts now.
Clutching my pearls.
My pearls. I mean, honestly, they are my
Yeah.
pearls, but
Yeah.
anyways, we don't have to talk about my boobs on yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Looking at people with eyeballs / nipples.
Eyes for nipples.
I titled the section Stories Mothman Goes Global.
Yikes. Okay.
I hate all my headings. They're so good though.
I'm living
They
for them,
make
don't
me
worry.
Giggle. Okay. So the first story I want to talk about is the I said that very clearly. O'Hare International Airport sighting.
That's the one in DC, right?
No, it's in Chicago.
You're right. I should...
God. So this report came in November 26, 2019. It's less than a year ago. This report happened. Isn't that just kind of crazy? I don't know. It's crazy to me.
The one in O'Hare?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah. So, less than a year ago. Also, yeah, like, I can remember where it was November 26th at 6:30 p.m. I was on the last day of Thanksgiving at my parents' house, I'm pretty sure. And boy, was it fun. Boy, was I ready to come back to Seattle.
Oh, I was probably at work.
Wait, when was Thanksgiving last year?
On a Thursday.
Yeah, but like, it wasn't... So, did this guy see Mothman the day after Thanksgiving, is what I want to know. Wait, here we go. I'm checking my calendar. Thanksgiving, last Thursday. Oh, wait, no.
If it was on the Thursday itself, I wasn't working. But I think I was working the day after.
Yeah. So, Thanksgiving 2019 was on Thursday the 28th. So, I'm totally wrong. I wasn't even at my parents' house yet. I was preparing for my parents' house. Anyways, trippy. So, Mothman is alive and well today. So, a truck driver stopped at O'Hare International Airport and was taking a smoke break while his truck was being loaded. He claims that while he was smoking, he saw a person with wings around 7 feet tall standing by a fence at about 6:30 p.m. So like if you could see the fence and then you could see how much taller Mothman was than the fence, that would be pretty fucking trippy. Also, there's something that I'm wondering is that if Mothman was flying around in the airspace, wouldn't someone have picked that up, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
Mothman also did make that TV's or that guy's TV go all haywire. So obviously some kind of control of electronics. I say
Well,
obviously like we're saying, but yeah, but
yeah, I was gonna say like maybe it has something to do with like maybe Mothman has some sort of ability to bend light, but like bending
mm-hmm.
to become like invisible, but bending light and becoming invisible to the naked eye doesn't have anything to do with like radar
Yeah,
and like
that's true.
sonic. What is it called?
Sonic Boom.
No, the thing that dolphins can do.
Oh,
Echolocation.
Echo. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bats can also do that.
Bats can do that. Yeah. Yeah. But
Is that what
pretty
I'm trying to think
crazy
of?
to be at an airport though. Oh, okay.
Can
So
you imagine Mothman took a plane to go scare some people in Chicago? Like,
also, you know
oh
what
my
I'm
god.
thinking is that why would Mothman be at an airport if Mothman is known for either um, predicting or causing disasters? So then, did that mean that there was an impending disaster and Mothman was there? And
Right.
so maybe a disaster that we didn't even know was going to happen was averted somehow.
I hate that. I mean, like, I enjoy. I don't know if that's the right word. I appreciate Mothman for being there to avoid, to divert the disaster, but I hate the idea that something bad could have happened if
Yeah,
Mothman hadn't showed up.
yeah. And like, why would. Yeah, because if that's true, and so many things can go wrong at airports, so I'm like, that's
Mm-hmm.
a possibility. If we believe in Mothman? I don't know. Um, so, interestingly, the truck driver reported what he saw to UFO Clearinghouse, which is an online source for strange happenings. Have you seen the X Files?
Some of it, yes.
It's have you met the three guys who were what's their
Who
group
come
called?
in and help
Oh,
Mulder sometimes?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
the lone gunmen.
Is that what they're
Um,
called? I never
yeah,
pay attention. I just usually have it on in the background.
yeah. It's like
But I've seen them, yes.
The UFO clearinghouse seems like them if they weren't in hiding and trying to like so
Got it.
like at that level of UFO kind of
Got it.
stuff. But interestingly, he, I I like that the truck driver like knew that the police would be like no help, so they're just like, hey,
Straight to the UFO experts.
let me call the UFO hotline.
Yeah.
UFO hotline, write that down.
Love
I
that.
love
All right.
that. Okay. As you write that down, I'm gonna keep going. Um, the truck driver reported to this UFO clearinghouse that he saw a creature with a 6 foot wingspan that looked like a demon or a goblin, and that it might have had its back to him because it looked like a bird, like it had the same gait as a bird, and it flapped its wings before disappearing into the night. Um, the the truck driver said to the investigator that the only thing he'd seen that was anything like it was when he was a child in Mexico. And when he was in Mexico, he saw a solid black winged creature circling an open field. And it supposedly made like a loud screeching sound before flying off into the forest. So,
Yikes.
like, yeah. So this guy is saying that he had an experience as a child, like seeing something a lot like this. I wonder, I wonder if it was following him, the truck driver. If like the truck driver, like plays some really important role in human
Hmm.
history. So the Mothman is like, hey, you're about to cause this disaster by like doing something totally unrelated, or like, you
Yeah.
know.
What if Mothman's actually a butterfly, and he is the embodiment of the butterfly effect? Just a thought.
I'm not breathing. I can't breathe. Can you write that down because that's fascinating. I want to think more about that.
Yes.
And then so our second worldwide Mothman sighting was in Freiburg, Germany.
Okay.
I think I'm saying that right. And
I'm
this
not
was
even
on.
gonna attempt a German accent for that.
Yeah, no, please don't. And this was on September 10th, 1978. The news source Ranker, I don't know if Ranker is considered a news
Reputable
source.
source.
No, definitely not a reputable source because I read it and then I read other sources that were like, no, all these stories don't make any sense. But
Got it.
um,
Ranker's
Ranker,
been debunked.
anyway, they say that that a group of miners in Freiburg witnessed what they first thought was a man in a trench coat blocking the main entrance, or sorry, blocking a mine's entrance where they were working. But on second look, it actually seemed to be a headless creature with glowing red eyes in its chest, blocking the entrance when it opened its huge black wings. So I don't know. First they thought it was a man in a trench coat, but like, oh wait, no, it's a headless.
Actually, something incredibly terrifying and not human at all.
Yeah, like what the hell? Um,
Yikes.
the Mothman's wiki fandom page, who and that page is actually like one of the main pages to point out like when where stories have been debunked. So they say that this one is debunked, but
Okay, but is it. Sorry, this is a serious question. Is it like
uh,
the wiki fandom page for a comic book? Or is it like a wiki fandom
no,
page
it's like
for Mothman?
for the cryptid. Yeah, I mean, as
What
far as
is
I
wiki
know,
fandom? Like, what? I know what it is. I've been there before. Like, I've been to
yeah,
the website, but like,
it's like everything.
really?
It's a multi-universe. Oh, also, I was gonna mention that like Mothman
It's like
might
an
be
Earth
rumored.
fandom forum.
Mothman is rumored also to be able to travel between dimensions.
Yikes.
So it's not crazy to think that Mothman would not have shown up on
On
an
radar,
airport's
yeah.
radar.
It has nothing to do with like being able to. Well, depending on how you think about like, depending on what you believe about slipping between realms and like dimensions and stuff, it has nothing to do with bending light. But if you do believe that bending light is how people are able to shift between realms, then it has everything to do with bending light.
Yeah,
But depending on how you believe things work, like that makes a lot of sense. That
yeah.
uh, mm, I don't have words. Okay.
We will have to figure out that one after the episode. The Mothman's wiki fandom page quotes someone in the party of miners saying that the creature sounded like 50 people screaming, or a
No.
train in peril trying to break at the sight of a twisted rail. So like very very vivid metaphors.
Yeah.
Um,
Very invasive on your like senses.
yeah.
Oh, well, not invasive, but like overload, sensory
Oh,
overload.
yeah. 50 people screaming?
That's a lot of people,
Wow,
and also
that's
screaming.
a lot of people. Yeah.
And that's also illegal right now. 50 people in one place screaming all at the same time.
Yeah. Oh boy. Um, so the miners saw this big winged man thing. And I guess German miners are a lot smarter than most white Americans because they took this as a sign not to investigate any further. And
Okay,
instead, they worked on tasks that did not require going into the mine that day because they're like, we're not fucking messing with that.
that's incredibly smart. Yes, good
Yeah.
idea. Good
And
call.
about an hour later, there was an earthquake, and the miners felt like the tremors, and then they saw dust shooting up from the mine as it collapsed. So if the creature hadn't
Absolutely good
shrieked,
call.
yeah, like if the
Wow.
creature hadn't been there, then they would have gone into the mine just like every other day, and then they would have been killed when the mine collapsed.
So this is
So,
definitely a case where like Mothman is a warning,
hmm
a good
yeah,
warning.
yeah. Um, yeah, and this case was actually debunked by, what was it, the movie maker or the author of the Mothman prophecy, because I guess this is where the myth was sourced from there, but then posted on the internet as like an actual like
Account.
witness account. But like still, if we're saying that folklore matters, then it still matters, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um well shit. I said at the start like that we're not
We're
gonna
not
be
going to
into
be debunking, but here we are.
Sorry.
It's part of the folklore.
Yeah.
Can't avoid it.
Yeah. And then the last example that I want to talk about of worldwide was Chernobyl.
Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Did somebody... No, go ahead. Tell the story. I won't try to predict what's happening. My mom does that when we watch movies and it pisses me off, so...
Oh, wait, shoot. No, okay. Sorry. The Chernobyl story is the one that's been officially debunked. The one in Germany has not been as officially debunked. I was wrong.
Okay.
This one is the one that's debunked.
Okay, so it's still possible that they could have been warned of the earthquake by Mothman.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe not the earthquake itself, but the mine collapse.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yeah. So in 1985 in Chernobyl, Ukraine, right? Scientists.
You're asking the wrong person. I just know what Chernobyl is. The disaster
yeah,
that occurred.
it's in
I know nothing
Ukraine.
about where it's actually located.
So scientists allegedly claimed to see a huge black bird-like humanoid creature flying around the plants. And like a lot of other accounts, it had glowing red eyes. And then those who saw the creature also got weird phone calls and nightmares leading up to the nuclear explosion in April 1986. The day of the accident, allegedly people alleged to see a huge black bird flying around the smoke post-explosion.
Interesting.
Yeah, so this one was the one where in Wiki Fandom it was like, no, the author of the book has said like this isn't this was like, I guess it was suggested in the novel, but then people like took the story and they posted it on the internet like it was a true story.
Mm-hmm. It's like Slenderman.
Yeah.
Got it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then there's a lot more stories about Mothman interfering, well, not interfering, but showing up for major disasters. Like the, I think this is Chinese. I don't know. Or I don't know how to say it. The, Xianti Dam disaster in January 1926. Mothman was also reported, in this, around the swine flu outbreak in Mexico in 2009, and also the I-35W bridge collapse in Minnesota in 2009.
Okay.
In Minneapolis, Minnesota, to be specific.
What about San Francisco in 86?
What specifically are you?
The bridge collapse.
Oh, I
guess that's not common knowledge. My parents lived through it. I know about it because I'm from San Francisco area. I don't know. I'm also obsessed with the 1906 earthquake. That's just me.
Got it. Yeah.
I'm obsessed with San Francisco disasters. Anyways.
Yeah. It didn't see anything about San Francisco disasters. Okay. I was about to say that might be out of Mothman's purview, but then Mothman also went to Germany, so I don't know. Yeah, no. Maybe Mothman doesn't... I was about to say maybe Mothman doesn't like the ocean, but then
right, as soon as you said that,
cross... Yeah, anyways.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
unless we think that there's more than one Mothman.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a whole family of Mothmen.
Yeah. And like maybe someone who was there for the bridge collapse in San Francisco saw something but didn't report it. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
What if moth people are actually the like people slash things that we consider Men in Black.
I mean, possible. Mothman has been known to shapeshift.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I yelled really loud into the mic. What if moth people are actually Men in Black, but we see the Men in Black as we know them in their like humanoid form because they have like holograms? New conspiracy theory. Here we go.
Here we go. Yeah. I mean, Astonishing Legends has like a 5-part series on Mothman. And like, I was gonna listen to the whole thing, and then I'm just like, I love this show, and I also can't listen to white men talk for 5 consecutive episodes, each 1 an hour and a half long. Do you listen to Spooked?
No.
I've been wanting to talk about Spooked for so long, but I've always forgotten to. But it's such a good podcast. I feel like it's worth taking 5 minutes to talk about it.
Okay.
Because it's so good. Have you listened to the Heaven's Gate podcast?
No.
By I forget his name. Shit. Hold on. His name is Glenn Washington.
Okay.
And he's black. He's a Black American, and he does a whole series on the Heaven Gate podcast. And also, he was raised in the cult. So to hear him talk about Heaven's Gate, it's
yeah, I've heard ads for it on My Favorite Murder.
Yeah. Anyways, but then he also does a show called Spooked, which is kind of, it's like more structured.
Oh, interesting.
It's like what am I trying to say? It's a podcast about paranormal stories, except it's the people themselves who are usually talking about it, and it's not like conversational. It's just them. It's like more interview style, but like it's so good, and I mean, like there's a lot more diversity for sure, at least like racial diversity of stories. So it's really nice just to like not just hear white people's haunting stories, because I feel like that's definitely the dominating kind of paranormal story that's told. There was this one episode about the house was haunted. The mom had a multiple sclerosis, and there was like this ghost that was using that against her to like terrorize her family and her kids and make her feel helpless and just like really fucked up. But
that's rude.
I know, yeah. So I was like very like, oh God.
I know the title of that episode.
Person.
A rude ghost.
A rude ghost, yeah. But then in the end, she like totally was fucking hardcore and like got shit done. Like, and she had MS. So the thing is that she had to go up the stairs to confront the ghost, and she had MS, so she couldn't really go upstairs. But like she was in so much pain, but she went up the stairs anyways to protect her children. And I'm just like, fucking hardcore disabled moms. I love it. So that was very good. And it meant a lot to me to hear the ghost story.
Absolutely.
Where a disabled person is the hero instead of weak and helpless. So that was good. Thank you, Glenn Washington. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, so we're finally entering the conclusion of my story. This one is titled Conclusion. Where was Mothman when COVID started? Where is she now? I just like changed the Mothman pronouns like throughout, and in this section she's a she.
Because why not?
Yeah. So it's harder to validate claims of like an international Mothman, but recently there are several sources, like more irreputable sources than, I don't know, like Router. What was the other source? But anyways, like journalism and stuff about how Mothman / Mothfolk may have migrated to the Chicago area, and the Chicago newspaper that I quoted earlier suggests that maybe this is because of climate change. Um, so
Oh,
maybe
okay.
Mothman moved away from West Virginia to
Is it too
Chicago.
hot for him now?
I don't know. Um,
I'm just trying to think, like, there hasn't been, like, a
yeah,
huge drastic change.
in West Virginia.
Yeah.
I don't know because it doesn't get pretty hot in Chicago too.
Yeah, like, it gets to be.
Yeah.
It's in
The
the high
only
80s,
thing
90s, yeah.
the only thing I
But it
can
also
really
snows there, so I don't know.
yeah, the only thing I can think of is like being near the ocean because West Virginia is like on the coast, right?
Yeah. What if
Okay.
it kept getting salt in its wings and it's like, no thank you, goodbye?
Oh no. Yeah, I don't know. Um yeah, I mean, I'm sure that climate change is happening and that
Yes.
I just don't
That we
know
can both
about
agree
it.
on.
So, um
How it affects Mothman, we don't know.
we don't exactly know. But it's valid. Um I came across a source that I fucking love. Um, it's a Chicago Mothman expose by someone named Dylan Hackworth of the DePaula, which is DePaul University's student newspaper. So, like, you know how we had the Spectator at
Yes.
our
I
university?
noticed
It's
student
like
newspapers,
it's
yes.
like that, but I know. I was just excited because I wrote for a student newspaper
Ah.
and it was a very good experience. And I'm just like, oh, this is so good. And yeah, I feel like their article is a good note to end on, not just because it reminds me of how much I miss college, but the article
Well.
that they wrote is titled "Has the Fabled Mothman Made Chicago Home?" and it was written this year on April 30th. So
Okay.
COVID was already in full swing. Um, and Hackworth writes that Chicago residents have been reporting Mothman sightings more and more since 2019. So, like, recently,
Yeah.
Mothman has started showing up in Chicago. And I just, like, am fascinated by how recent all this is. That's what's really exciting to me.
I'm just trying to think, like, of all places in the U.S. to to warn people of coronavirus, I don't think Chicago would be the place.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't think Mothman went to Chicago to warn about the coronavirus because reports started increasing around 2017. So
Oh, okay.
supposedly Mothman had been there since
So
2017.
then what is he there to warn them of?
I
That's
don't
super
know.
concerning that, like, he's there to warn them. I mean,
I
that's what
know.
we believe. But,
I don't
like,
know.
nothing's happened. It's been 2 years.
I don't know
Like,
if like okay, I don't know if seeing Mothman necessarily means that there's a danger because Mothman's got to live somewhere, right? Unless
that's true.
Mothman lives in a dimensional, I don't know, interdimensional
Lives
yeah.
between the realms.
I don't know. But yeah, this article is suggesting that for some reason Mothman like physically
Just up and moved to
like
Chicago.
moved houses.
Fascinating.
Found a nice apartment on apartments.com. Affordable
Went to
rent.
Zillow.
Went to Zillow. um, um,
Hired a real estate agent to find him a perfectly suitable house in Chicago.
yeah, yeah,
Love it.
I love it. It's great. Um, Hackworth, the author of this piece, they interview a rhetoric and composition professor who focuses on ghost stories and folklore. Doesn't that just seem like the like
An ideal job.
doctorate for me?
Yes.
I want that. But this really smart person, her name is Trisha Hermes. I think it's Hermes. And draws connections between natural disasters, the comfort of folklore, and COVID-19. And Hackworth did a great interview, and I'm just gonna read like a little quote from their article. Hopefully that's okay and we don't get sued because
That's
I'm actually
fine.
thinking about like reaching out to them and being like, "Hey, love your article. We talked about it on our podcast."
I mean,
Um,
you cited it. That's the important part.
yeah, yeah. Um, oh, Hackworth writes, the amount of conspiracies springing up about this pandemic is crazy. Hermes said, some say this is Mother Earth's way of taking revenge on humans. I think I think a belief in the paranormal, like Mothman, can be a kind of shield from the even harsher truths of the world. For some, a figure like Mothman could be a perfect scapegoat, a totem some folks would use to direct their fears and frustrations when the current level of chaos, or sorry, with the current level of chaos in the world. For Hermes, that is the role the Mothman served in the case of the Silver Bridge collapse. People want to make sense of these things. Random violence and accidental deaths are frightening and something we cannot control. We look for meaning in the chaos. And that is the conclusion of my article. Or like I'm going brain dead. That is the conclusion of my story on the great words of Dylan Hackworth and their professor from DePaul University.
Nice. Yeah, I can see that. Just trying to find like some sort of, it's like religion, right? Everyone's trying to figure out like, explain the things around them.
Yeah. And like, even if folktales can be debunked, like it doesn't mean they're not important still.
Yeah.
So,
it's a way of coping.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a way to cope.
Yeah. And my coping mechanism is taking a firm stance that Mothman is real, even if a lot of the sightings are not totally credible.
I also want to add.
Also,
sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, what does a credible like sighting look like, Like, I don't know. Like, how could you possibly pictures?
Videos.
I know. But, like, what if you can't get a picture and, like, your word is all you have, I guess.
Right, and, like, pictures and videos are, like, easily doctored. Like, easier than ever these
Easier
days.
than ever. Also, like, maybe, I don't know, like, it's not crazy to think that something like this would know how to avoid.
I was gonna say a mass sighting? Not like a mass sighting in that there's multiple Mothman, but, like, multiple people, like, an entire concert venue worth of people saw Mothman. But then again, like, that still doesn't work because people say that Columbine didn't happen. And there was less than a concert venue. I mean, depending on the size of the concert venue, but, like, a sizable number of people were at Columbine, experienced Columbine. Like, Waco. People don't believe Waco. Like, fuck, dude. There's Waco? So many people who don't believe mass events like this happened, even though there was, like, a whole... Like, a lot of people witnessed it. And there's no way to ignore its, like, place in history, Yeah. It just... Anyways, you know, I'm trying to say, like, I don't know what it would take. For people to believe.
Exactly. I think, like, people either really want to believe or they really don't want to believe.
Right.
And then the people who are...
And then there's the people who think that birds aren't real. Like...
Oh my god. Wait.
How many people see actual birds and see birds getting crushed every day? Like, I don't know how you can think those are just drones when you see the guts and blood on the ground. I'm a firm believer in, like, organic birds, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm a firm believer in Mothman, though.
Yeah. I mean, definitely I'm getting, like, Angel of Death vibes. You know?
What do you mean?
Like, well, and maybe not Angel of Death, but like,
Angel of Death isn't like a bad, or like an omen sort of thing? Yeah, or do you mean like Angel of Death, like a nurse or a healthcare worker comes in?
No. Okay. Angel of Death has like a, like, phenomena. Yeah.
Okay.
As an omen.
Sorry, I was like, I don't think I'm thinking the same Angel of Death, and I think you mean what you mean, but I don't get it. Got it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I'm having a stroke. My stomach is rumbling. I need to.
I know. Okay. I think
go eat some pizza rolls.
Yeah. I think I've said all I want to say on Mothman.
Well, I think we did a better job of keeping things down to time this time.
Yeah, we're
still 2 hours in.
2 hours? No, 2 hours 40 minutes.
Are you fucking kidding me? All right. So we need to finish out this episode. So we'll figure all that out later. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate you coming back even after all this time, after we took a long ass break.
Yes.
I hope you found this somewhat entertaining. We really try. If you'd like to hear from more of us and see more of us, you can find us on Twitter at Horror Corner Podcast, on Instagram at Horror Corner Podcast. You can also email us at horrorcornerpodcast@gmail.com with corrections and concerns and reviews. You can also drop a review on iTunes. Even though we are no longer posting there, or not posting there at the moment, you can still leave a review for our older episodes. And you can also find us on any other platform you listen to your podcasts on. So whether that be Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts, we're up there. So currently, this episode is only going to be up on YouTube. So if you found us, congratulations. You can listen to our old episodes on the other platforms, but this one is here. What else do I say? Oh, my Twitter is GoCody. I'm also on YouTube. I have a channel thing called OddCubePunk. Find me there. I'm currently doing a Pride series to celebrate Gay Pride. Elle, do you have any social media?
I don't really use that
share?
much social media. I do have an Instagram for my dog. It's Snoozin' Susie Susan.
Perfect.
And Snoozin' is spelled like without the G at the end. It's just I am. Snoozin'.
Snoozin' Susan. I love it.
Snoozin' Susie. I know. I only named it that because Snoozin' Susan was taken already and I was unhappy. But you can see her. She's so beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, so then that would be it from my end, I think. I think I mentioned email for corrections.
Yes.
You can also email or DM corrections if you so wish to do that. I do check those regularly.
For sure.
So.
Yeah.
Yep. That'll take us out.
I think that's gonna do it for us. Thanks so much for listening. Episode 22. Fuck.
Yep.
Episode 22.
I'm feeling 22.
Oh no. I was gonna say I'm very proud of us for making it that far.
Until I said that, and now you're not proud of us.
And
at all.
And then
you're not proud of. You're proud of just yourself. You just I'm a streak on this.
You know, Cody.
A mark on this podcast.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and come back for more Mark on the podcast and my good stories.